Yours on? Is it on?
All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the June 1st, 2020 Treutlen County Board of Commissioners regular scheduled meeting. I appreciate everyone for coming and taking their time out to be a part of our meeting with City Government Action. At this time, I would ask Commissioner Staley Gillis for an invocation, please.
Let's pray. Thank you, Father, for this day. And God, I know that you are all-knowing God, and you are in control, and you know what is needed here. And I just ask for your direction and guidance as we make decisions for the county, for the people of Treutlen County. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. I'd like to ask everyone to stand and go along. I'd like to all call on former Commissioner Mr. Shonda Smith to lead us with the pledge, if you would.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first order of business before the board need to amend the agenda. It's come to my attention today that TJ needs to address the board under executive session for the purpose of litigation. Motion to amend the agenda for litigation.
Make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye. Aye. All opposed? And also, I have a request for Commissioner Gillis to amend the agenda for purpose of
Community action. It's about community actions.
community actions. Do I have a motion to amend the agenda?
Make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? We're ready. We'll put the community action right in front of the executive session balance report. First action for on this next thing, item of business for the board would be the approval of the minutes for the May 4th regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye. Aye. All opposed? Actually, I didn't vote because I wasn't here. All right. We have no public comments requested this time for the board. First up the bat would be our EMA Director, Mr. Josh Love. He would like to come and give some updates on different items that he's been working on for the board.
Good morning, y'all. Just going to give y'all a quick update on a few things. With COVID, we're up to 10 cases now. We have one hospitalized. I don't know how serious the condition is. I just found out about that this morning. The governor is now set where you can have groups of 25 or less if you have, complete spacing between them with 6 feet or more. The shelter in place order is still in effect for the medically fragile until the 15th of this month. Starting this morning and going to the 15th. That's where we're at on all that right now. Everything else is back open. All businesses can reopen at this time. The 911 system, I've made pretty good progress working on it. I'm about to start this week going out and verifying addresses one by one throughout the county, so that's going to take a while. I spoke with the assessor's office and they said that when they were out doing things that they noticed a lot of the addresses were wrong and or not marked, and when I'm out going I've got letters written. That way if I notice one that's not marked, I can stick a letter on the door, let them know, hey, mark your address, this is why, if there's an emergency, we can't find you because your address is not marked. And then also if they have a wrong address, I have a form for that to write on their what address they are using, what address they should be using. Hopefully we can get everything fixed where everything's nice and simple and easy to use. Treutlen County EMA did receive the EMPG grant that we get pretty much every year. I don't know if we've ever had any issues not getting it before. Most of the time, this is used to do whatever we feel like needs to be done. In my opinion, this year, I feel like we need to do some updates in the ESC. I feel like we need to fix the bathrooms in there. They're in pretty rough shape, and stick a shower stall in the bathrooms. That way, if we're there for more than 24 or so hours during an incident, that we have somewhere to take care of personal hygiene. That's what I feel like can be done with it. I did put in that and the grant is one of the things that could possibly be done. So I just want to give y'all an update on that, see how y'all feel about that. That's about all I've got at this time. If y'all have any questions for me, I'll gladly answer whatever you got.
Did you get you got it with Georgia Power about getting the power off the building?
The power is off the buildings, everything is marked. We're waiting on the gas company to come in and take their lines off the building before they can be torn down.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, no problem.
I got a question about that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, do we have to get anything from EPA before tearing those buildings down?
I'm not sure on that, I can check into it.
Not to my knowledge. We're talking about the downtown buildings here? No, ma'am. Typically, you don't. The only time we would have an issue is if one of the sites that had underground fuel tanks at one time. But I don't believe, if there are any tanks over there, it's news to me.
We got to call in the 811 before you dig also, make sure.
They've already been out there and marked it.
Water line and stuff.
Is Treutlen County planning on, are you guys planning on doing the demolition yourself or hiring a
No,
guy?
we're gonna demo it ourselves, we're gonna rent excavators, and we got some pipes out in the county, we got some large pipes that blowed out on the river, and we got some about 24-inch concrete pipes, we gotta set those pipes also, so we're gonna run a track over for about a month, we're gonna tear that down, and we're going to set the pipes in the road.
Do we have to be concerned about any asbestos or something?
I'm not sure.
Tom, do you know? Does that have to be?
I don't know of any asbestos siding over there.
It's a brick building, so there's,
Yeah.
siding shouldn't be an issue.
I suppose probably before we start the demo, we probably need, some of us need to make a walkthrough to see if we can see any of it.
Now, what building y'all talking about then? Y'all, the buildings that were just bought or?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else for Mr. Love? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, next order of business on the agenda is county building housekeeping. Is this per Otis' request? Otis has come to me and he's requested us to hire someone part-time, 20 hours a week to do light duty, I guess dusting and sweeping
I think that's what it's.
and different janitorial duties in the, some of the buildings and office. I hadn't discussed any kind of money. He threw the name at me of someone he would like to hire, but I said I'll take this before the board for the board's decision if this position's needed or what they want to do going forward.
Now, when I talked to Connie a couple of months back, they didn't need anybody, so who needs them?
What's been the county practice in the past? I know at the courthouse I've seen a crew come in occasionally to
They
do.
come in like once a week. They usually come in every Thursday, and
Yes, ma'am.
and I can't think of the company that they. It's like
It's
the
Whitman
service
Hill.
center. That's
Mhm.
right.
Okay.
And really and truly, like Connie and Tommy, they don't really like people to come in. They like to do their own cleaning,
Right.
but they'll go in and clean like the hallways and the restrooms.
Yes, ma'am.
And Otis has always done ours, but now for a couple of years we had all clean out of Vidalia that came in once a month and did the cleaning, but it was, kind of the courthouse didn't use them, we did and they did, and it was kind of an expensive expense, but so we let them go several months ago, and Otis just kind of does it. I think he just feels like he's working so much on yards and things like that. So he's wanting somebody that'll come in and dust, clean the restrooms and sweep and mop and that kind of thing.
And he's already pre-selected somebody? No, we don't need to be doing that. We were supposed to be getting away from that stuff.
Now, when we talked about it, I had asked if mental health could come in another day, and they was willing to do that.
I think they don't clean our offices, they only do the
So he
courthouse.
just wanted, okay.
Are they available to do other offices? Do we want them? I'm just asking the question. I don't.
I really don't know.
Do you want, since you work here all day, every day, do you want other people coming in to clean? Do you want to handle it yourself? What would you and the ladies like here?
I personally clean this office myself anyway, so,
Okay.
I'm okay here, but that's up
So
to
we're
y'all.
talking about the annex and maybe the senior
I
citizen
guess so.
center?
Just when this whole virus stuff come around, I just started doing it myself.
They have somebody at the senior center?
No, ma'am, they do their, no, ma'am, but they do have somebody that comes like maybe once a quarter and cleans their floors for them. The senior center does.
I guess I'm trying to understand why we need someone 20 hours a week when it appears that we're kind of pinch hitting on our own right now and it's working.
That's what,
Again, we don't have to take no action.
Okay.
I think to get too bad, the constitutional officer, whoever's handling the sites will see that it's clean.
I mean, I think if everybody, if your girls handle their office, we handle our office, if Otis, Otis and Kel can just kind of handle the hallways and, things like that, I think. Restrooms, stuff like that, maybe.
How many hours is Kale putting in now?
He's around, I want to say around 20 a week.
Is they possibility we can work him more if we need to be?
Is that Otis's assistant right now?
Yes, sir.
I say we just work, we keep it like we are.
No, I honestly don't know if Kel's going to school or anything. I really don't know. But if
Can you talk to him and see?
I will, yes, ma'am, I will.
Well, I can see
He does
this
a great
time
job.
of year how Otis is spread kind of thing. This time of year, spring and summer.
Or is you gonna go to him and try to handle it in-house
I will.
with Kale for right now, and if we see it's backing up, we'll revisit this. All right, next item of business on the agenda is road and maintenance. I requested this to be on here. I've had some requests in my district for some speeding in some low posted areas and some requests for some speed bumps. I'd like to run an ad in the paper where propose some locations at the rest of the board. If y'all have anything in mind you'd like to tag along with it, feel free to. I'm gonna have the hearing and we'll have minimal feedback and go with everybody when we try to order a couple of speed bumps and put in a couple of locations. Speed bumps are like, I think they're like $150 to $200 a piece, and we have to put some signage up for them also. There's been a request for some areas in the county. So,
We need to make one.
probably go ahead and run it. Probably won't be able to get in the paper till next week. And we're set to have the hearing. I'd like to have the hearing before the next meeting, before we vote, before we do it at the next meeting. Is that probably what we need to do, Tom?
Let me see if I understand. You're looking at running an ad in the local paper saying the Board of Commissioners is looking into possibly installing speed bumps at various county roads throughout the county.
Yeah.
Looking for the input from the county citizens and have a public hearing on it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a fine idea. The problem is you may have 100 people show up and they all want a speed bump in front of their house. But
Well, they certainly locate, I mean,
Yes,
if they got 10-mile-an-hour zone in front of their house and they having problems with it, we offer
there are some hot spots around here.
public safety. And that's kind of one of our major things is public safety, so. Whenever y'all like to have the hearing, we don't like to be at it, or what day you think would be good.
Can I ask this?
Yeah.
If you're having a public hearing, Taylor told me she would have the proposed 2021 budget to me this afternoon that I can get out to y'all to look at, and then we need to start thinking about getting our advertisements in and having our meetings
And we need
so
to
that we're
have
not late.
we need to have a budget workshop also. I'm saying that for the meeting is over with.
while we're on the road maintenance, I got a citizen wanting the road moved over from front of his house. I don't know if you want to add that in there or not for comments. So, I'm not interested in building roads. We maintain roads, we don't build roads, the way I see it.
I'm sorry, Joe, I didn't, with the sound of that,
I'm sorry.
Let me turn this off for a minute.
I said, I've got a citizen in my district that has asked to see if the county could move a road over from in front of his house. And I don't know if we want to bring it up for in the road maintenance or what, but me personally, I'm not for it. I don't see the county into building roads, we into maintaining roads.
Yeah, moving the location of a road's a major undertaking. what particularly are they asking for? They want it slid out a little
Slid,
ways?
moved away from his house is basically what it's boiling down to. It's on kind of a curve, and supposedly the landowner has agreed to give the land to move the road over, but there again, I don't see the county into road
Yeah,
building, because if you move it to this location, you're gonna have other ones coming
Well,
wanting
right.
to move another location.
What you do for one, we must do for all.
That's right.
And I would be cautious about it.
I would probably, and this is just me throwing Lance's 2 cents in, I would probably just let that lay, and if they felt like it was important enough to come address the board themselves, and then we would look at having a hearing at that point in time. Until they come here and request the board, I wouldn't, I don't think I'd.
That suits me fine, because like I said, I'm not for it to start with.
All right, so we'll be thinking about the dates as we go down. Maybe we can have the hearing prior to the budget workshop. Next order of business for the board is the health department AC unit. I believe that this,
So the health department's air conditioning keeps going out, and Alexander Brothers, they are continually going over there to repair it. And they said they can continue to repair it at, a pretty good cost. Their suggestion is to replace it. So
there's quotes
this is a
in the
quote.
packet.
Yes, it is.
So we have a quote to install unit, what's that, $5,700?
Mm-hmm. It is working right now. I mean, they did get it going, but they're just continually having problems with it.
What was the last bill on it?
I'd have to pull it. I can pull it and let y'all know. Usually it's a few $100s usually.
I don't remember it being nothing large.
I personally say, if this is just a suggestion, I would say wait until we get into our new budget before we make a really big, purchase.
But it is working now.
It is working. And they said they can keep it working, but they're just going to continually be working on it.
Well, we got this quote right here in front of us, and we have the information. If it goes back out again, we can just send a text out to everyone and see what they want to do at that time. We just let it, like you said, maybe it'll last another year. May not last a week, but we'll see what it does. Our next order of business for the board is the July Gym fireworks. I was requested by the chamber, the chamber who handles the fireworks, and we've done the fireworks last year in order of the centennial, and they asked if the county would put their portion back in for fireworks again. Last year I think we gave them $5,000 on the fireworks. I recommend the board, let's try to do this again. I think it went over well. It was a good showing. It, in today's world, anything you can do to help promote your community and bring your community together, I'm for it, and I'd like to see us do it again. So I'd like to have a motion to supply the chamber with the funding for the fireworks again for the centennial. For the July Gym.
Before I want to ask Josh. Josh, do you think this is a good idea? Because a lot of counties are canceling stuff. And, it's going to be more than 25 people here.
Right. The current order runs out. I can actually pull it right now and tell you. Sorry, I got to search for it. The order runs out on July the 12th. So technically it will still be under the no gatherings of more than 25 people by then.
It will be?
Yes.
What's the date of
This is
the?
July the
Right, July 4th.
Mhm.
And then it runs out July the 12th.
They didn't post
I
on
don't
it.
think they're doing the July Jam on the 4th. I think it's like a week later,
Okay.
but it may be
You got any
still
clue?
under.
I can pull up on Facebook probably real quick.
I didn't think about that.
I'll take that back. The public health state of emergency is until July 12th, but the shelter in place is only until June 15th, which is, I don't know how they're separating it, if they're separating the groups from the shelter in place, the grouping numbers from the shelter in place or not. The wording is very confusing in all these orders. I don't know if y'all tried to read any of them or not, but I can look into it and call some folks and let y'all know.
I think the July jam is on the 11th, I believe. I'm not positive. I think that's
can't
what,
see where they
right.
posted a date for this year. They got the 18th and 19th, and they got events, or like people who were coming to sing, but they don't have a new date.
I've seen that date.
That's just a concern that I have.
Well, I think it'd be Josh to look at it and make sure that they're operating within the guidelines of the state to start with.
Right.
If not,
I'll look into everything and see
we'll
what.
make sure they are, but if it does go off and it does happen at some point, we're still faithful letting them know for the planning stages or what if we're gonna participate in fireworks or not. And it don't have to be that amount, so if y'all wants to make a motion for a separate amount, we entertain a motion for that also.
Did they ask for that amount, or they just asked for the same thing that we did last time?
They didn't really say, they just kind of, in loose terms, said, hey, y'all gonna help us with the fireworks again this year? And I said, I will address the board. Here I am. So, how much do we want to be a part of our community gathering? And if we don't get a motion, then we won't do it.
I'm not saying don't do it, I just want to make sure
Well,
that our,
we'll put Josh in charge and make sure that it's happening within the range of the mandates. And if it needs to be postponed, then it needs to be postponed.
I'll speak with them and see what all they got planned and see what we can figure out, and I'll let y'all know.
I don't have a problem funding it as long as it's in the guidelines.
Well, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we fund it as long as everything's kosher.
For the amount of
Same, yeah.
Do I have a second?
I second, as long as it's in the guidelines, I second.
You're gonna make sure it's in the guidelines?
I second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And you're gonna make sure they're operating within the guidelines?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for thinking that up. I didn't even think about that. All right, next order of business for the board is our July meeting. Miss Angie, you want to take that?
I'm just saying, and this is totally up to y'all. Usually around the 4th of July, we sometimes postpone the meeting a week just because a lot of families are out of town now at this time. With things that are going on, I don't know how many people will be out of town, but that is something to think about. I won't be here, but that's no problem. Mary can take care of the meeting, but I will be out of town that day.
But the 4th is on Saturday, so it's really, that Monday's not gonna really interfere with me.
Well, I think her concern was what some people take long weekends with having the 4th on Saturdays. So.
We normally do reschedule it if it's like right there at that weekend, but it's fine if y'all don't want to too. I was just going to bring that up because we normally do bring it up.
And Mary will be here.
Mary will be, as far as I know, yes, ma'am.
I keep it the same, man.
As of right now, I don't have anything planned for July.
All right, we're gonna have to take no action there then. So we have right now we need to set forth our time for our 21 budget workshop to be preceded by our road hearing. Do you want to have any suggestions when we're supposed to have the packet in front of everyone this week, advertised have it the third week?
I think so. I've got the website on my computer. I'll have to look at all the dates and everything, how we do it.
Is that gonna be quick enough?
I think so.
You know, we could run the advertisement in the paper.
Do you remember right off, Tom, how that works?
No, ma'am, I'm sorry, I
Okay.
don't.
Do you, Miss Thaler? Because I know we had talked about it some last year. Do you remember right off? Okay.
Y'all wanna try to have that meeting on a Thursday or Friday, that way the ad can run in the paper for 2 weeks? You gotta run for 2 full weeks before you have it?
The budget one does.
This is just a workshop though, right?
Well,
This
the-
is just, yeah, I mean, I don't think we have, I mean, we need to advertise we're having a workshop, but as far as like, you know, this is just
2
for
weeks
us.
would be nicer than one.
But we can go ahead and have that workshop. We can have it in 3 weeks. That'll give us, we won't ever get it in this week for the paper,
That's right.
will we, for the advertising?
I mean, if we could get it today by 2, I could probably still add it in. I mean, it might end up on the classified page or something, but
Yeah, we
it'll
can
be in
do that.
there.
I'll try to get you something this morning for you.
And like I said, Taylor's gonna have that to me so that I can get that to y'all to look at before we have a meeting. That way if you have any questions or changes or whatever.
All right, what's gonna be our date and time then?
And I personally think it should be this week if possible, just to make sure we have plenty of time to get everything,
Now what, this
What, the
week?
workshop?
the workshop.
We can have 2 different meetings. They don't have to be at the same time.
When and where?
Would Friday work for everybody? That way it would have time to be in the paper so that people would know that we're having a called meeting.
This Friday, say 3 o'clock.
See, would that be the 19th?
No, that's this week.
This Friday?
Mhm. The
Okay.
5th,
What time?
3.
Here at the Commissioner's office?
Yes, sir.
As for a notice to the public about your considering the idea of putting in some speed bumps and wanting input from the public, do you want to set a date and time for that, or?
Now, let's go ahead and have that in 2 weeks. That way we can run 2 weeks in the paper. And I'll get you.
If I get that to you today before 2, can you get that in this week? Let's say we can advertise it this week and next week. In theory, you could do it like a week from this Thursday or Friday, or 2 weeks from this Thursday or Friday.
All right, we'll do that maybe Thursday. 1, 2 weeks, and have it on Thursday afternoon.
The 18th?
Yeah.
June 18th. What time would you like to do that?
We'll do that at 6 also.
6 p.m. here at the Commissioner's office?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And let me see what at that hearing, you are looking for input from the public.
We're proposing some speed control.
Such as speed bumps and
Mhm.
signage and things
Right.
on county roads.
County roads. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll get you the name of the 2 roads. I don't know one of them. If anyone else has any concerns about any other place, we can put it on there also.
Okay.
Alrighty, we have our May balances report and our fiscal 2020 budget amendment resolution. This information is given to us in our packet. Ms. Angie and Taylor went through and found different areas where, first off, our finance report, we got our general fund on cash, $2,184,014.67. Still got our CD at the bank. See our crime victims fund, drug abuse treatment, drug seizure, E11, jail service, landfill, C-Splosh, 2013 Splosh. I thought we moved that out of there, paid for the,
We have it just, we that's the check we did Friday, so it's not gonna show up on here yet, but that will change.
okay. Our LME allowance for this year and our 2019 Splosh is building for our projects that we have set before the board. And then as far as we have to amend our budget to cover our expenditures throughout the year, to finish out the year, that way we come out with a even budget, and you see the expenditures here, and you're going to give a list of whatsoever where the money's went and what it is going forward, as well as the amount needed to balance the books. And so we need to get a resolution made by the board to fund these expenditures.
And we did not have to pull anything out of fund balance to cover anything. We were able to make adjustments within the department so that we don't have to pull anything from fund balance to cover the expenses.
So basically just taking money that we already allotted to spend and just putting it in different places where it's already been approved for expenditure.
I'll make a motion, we amend.
Do I have a second? Any further discussion?
I think we probably need to talk about how we're spending, one thing, to get a hold on the spending, so we won't have to be amending budgets. And I do understand that it's just moving money from one place to another. But I've been looking at the finances, and we've got some issues that we really need to look at and put a stop to. Because, and I've got a list here, and I'm sure don't nobody want to hear it, but I got it.
We'll be more than glad to hear.
But we've got some situations where we're paying credit card bills. We don't have the receipts from where the money, why it was charged. We don't get hotel receipts. We don't, got some places people are buying lunch for the staff. We don't have receipts for that. I really don't think we need to be buying staff lunch anyway on the county, with county money. People are getting per diem, well, should be getting per diem. They're getting paid over per diem. I mean, if we got per diem, why are you gonna pay somebody more than per diem? Because they bring a receipt in. That was the purpose of the per diem. We paying bar tabs for some folks. And I just think we need to be looking at how this money is being spent. So, and in fact, I think we need to do a forensic audit, because there's no telling. I've got, somebody told me, well, you, Mr. Chairman, you said that you signed checks that's over the $5,000 limit that you're able to approve without the board's approval.
No. I didn't say that. I signed checks. Expenditures already been approved by the board.
No, yeah, that's what you said. But the thing about it is, I've been to every meeting except one, and we've not had anything to come up where that was more than $5,000, but a few times. So, we've had people that charge airline tickets.
Can you show me where I've done that?
You told me that. I don't know. I haven't seen that.
I haven't told you that. I told you I signed checks.
Lance, you told me that on March.
I'm not here for you to put words in my mouth. I've signed checks that's already been approved by this board, and that's all.
But we haven't approved any checks.
All I'm asking you to do is just show me where I've done. You're sitting here making accusations about me. You can't show me where I've done.
Guys,
Wait a minute. Now, you
we're
told
talking
me that.
about a budget amendment right
Yeah,
now.
we don't need to be in the.
Let's get back to our budget amendment, and then we can talk about some other things.
Okay, that's why this is budgeting here. The way money is being spent is budgeting. And if we've got to amend the budget, then we need to be looking at why this money is being spent these ways. Because we need to stay within the guidelines.
I don't have any problem with staying within the guidelines. I guess you have a motion and a second on the floor at the moment for an amendment for these specific items.
Right.
I suggest we address those first, and then Thayla, if you've got some concerns, let's talk about those.
That's part of the budget concern right there. So I
right.
mean,
Well,
I've pointed them out.
With regards to these particular amendments on these two sheets,
It's all in the money, Tom. I mean, you've got something in here about renovations in the commissioner's office. That was one where you're over budgeted at. And people just spending money like they want to spend it, then that's a problem. we got people charging airline tickets for their spouse on a credit card.
Let's narrow our focus to this list here. You mentioned some renovations, was it here at the Commissioner's office?
It was here in the Commissioner's office.
All right, is this the $30,000 amendment for
It
R&M
includes
building?
that. That's not just renovations, but it is included in that amount.
But we never voted on renovations here. And it was over $5,000 that's been spent.
Okay.
We got people that, the spouses of, for some people getting airline tickets on a credit card. I mean, they went back later and reversed it, but you don't use county money that way. And then you want to come amend the budget because you've overspent. They, like up here redecorating this office, the money wasn't there. You should wait till it's in the budget instead of just saying get what you want.
Well, sometimes it comes to the point of public health and hazards too. When you got a carpet in here that every time somebody walks by it, they hag their heel on it and they fall down. It's time to do a little maintenance on your building.
And I don't have any problem with that, but stuff needs to be approved. We need to follow the guidelines. We're supposed to be stewards over the money for Treutlen County, and people are looking at it.
As well they should be. But I don't know of any frivolous spending or anything up here that's been spent on any way that it shouldn't have been.
Well, I think that's why we need a forensic about it so we can find it out. Because I've just found, I just happen to be looking at credit card bills and see stuff. So it really ain't no telling what's in accounts payable.
It's open book, anybody welcome to go look at it.
Well, most of y'all don't want even me looking at it, Lance, because you've been having problems with me up here looking at it.
Come here and just keep making accusations. I have never stopped you from looking at nothing.
And you can sit
I'm
there
not
and
here
say
to
whatever
argue
you
with her.
want to
We
say,
have a
but you were
motion
the
and
one
a
told
second.
me
You're
that
out of
you-
order.
that
You're out of order.
you
We have a
want to-
motion and a second.
Wait, we're not.
We have a motion and a second on the table. We have heard the discussion. Now we're fixing to vote on this right here. All in favor on amending this resolution, vote aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, now if you feel like there's something needs to be done about anything else going up here, do whatever, get with Tom, do whatever you got to do instead of making blanket cloud accusations. Bring something to this board that's been done wrong that we can address, we can fix, and we can go forward with it from there.
I'm going to tell you one thing. It's not anything I said over here today that I haven't read in those financial reports.
I just said bring it to the board. If you
It's
see
right
something
there in
wrong,
your
bring
file.
it to the board instead of
It's
sitting
right
there
there in your
talking about broad. I mean, you still haven't pointed anything wrong anybody's done.
I haven't called anybody's name either. I have brought up
Okay,
something
all right.
that somebody's
All right,
done.
well, you
I mean,
go
if
to
you
Tom if
got
you have,
lunch-
Tom, is that what she needs to do?
No, the board needs to know this.
Well, bring it to the board.
I
Don't just sit
did.
there and throw
I just-
rocks.
I'm not throwing rocks.
All right.
Everything I said is a fact.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Thaler, let me make a suggestion. I'd make this to anybody. Let's say you do some looking and you have some questions or concerns about how we spend our money. Let's say my understanding, you've been over here a couple times and looked at reports and all. And my guess is there's probably some hot spots or trouble spots of concerns of yours. If you would get us each a packet with some documentation and get it to us ahead of time, and then we can discuss it at the meeting, you're going to find that people get real defensive when you start blindsiding someone with an accusation and we don't have any paperwork. But if you got the other commissioners 2 or 3 weeks in advance saying, I've got these 10 things that worry me. These 10 things worry me. Let's talk about them at the next meeting, and you show what they've done, then everybody's prepared to look at it.
Not a problem. Love to see it.
They may not want to deal with it, but they've got to at that point, and that's fair to everybody, because then everyone's had a chance to look at it and maybe understand a little bit of the background. But when you just say, you've done this or you've done that without us seeing anything, it's not always met with the right kind of reaction.
Okay, well, I was up here last week, and unless somebody's destroyed it, it's right there in the file.
Okay. I would suggest if you've got a list of concerns, let's compile those together with some documentation, get them to all of us so we can look at it so we can be prepared at a meeting to talk about.
And that's what I had.
And I think that's a fair thing to talk about.
And that's what I had intended to do, but
Okay.
since we was talking about amending the budget today,
Yes, ma'am.
I thought this was a good time too to mention some of the things I saw.
I would just suggest you get a copy of whatever, and so you can specify it and get it to us all in advance, so we all are on the same page.
That's exactly right. All right.
Is that an all in favor on amending the budget? I just got 3 yays and
I don't believe Miss Thaler voted
Oh,
in
I'm
favor.
okay with amending the budget.
Oh, okay.
All right, we were amended the agenda. I didn't write down, what did we amend the agenda for?
For me to ask about community action.
Okay, at this time, Commissioner Gillis would like to have the floor about community action.
I don't know if everybody's familiar with the Community Action Council, but Ms. Laura Adams, she works, her home office is over in Montgomery County. She works Treutlen, Wheeler, and Montgomery. So she was, she's willing to come over to Treutlen County one day a week if we have an office that she could use. That's in order to keep people from having to drive over to Montgomery County to apply for assistance. And if anybody doesn't know what she assists with, but they help with energy assistance, which include heating and cooling bills for people, and do some home repairs for the elderly and disabled. And she's got other programs. I'm not really familiar with them, and she wants to meet at some point, if y'all want her to come over and talk to you, to let you know what programs they have, what services they offer.
And she currently does not come to Treutlen County? Is that
She does not come to Treutlen. Everybody has to go over to Montgomery County to apply for services.
At one time, they was over there at the EOC building.
Okay.
They used to be over there at one time. But now,
Does she
now that
just
we got
need a
the EOC
place
building.
She just
to
needs
stay for the day?
a room for a day.
Is she needing a telephone, an office or anything?
She didn't say that she needed a phone. She just said office space. If y'all would consider letting her have an office for a day,
She talked 1 day a month,
one day a week.
1 day a week?
Y'all got space here?
she could come in here and, Mr. Terry's only in his office once in a while, the work office back there. And there's a phone back there if she needs it and a computer if she needs it.
The law library at the courthouse typically is empty unless we're having court that day.
Now she's gonna have people in and out now because they come in for
Well,
the
and see, they
applications
could
and
come right through there too, and it
Okay.
would never even hinder us, I
Okay.
mean, being there. I know
assume it
Laura, she's
doesn't
a real sweet
cost
girl.
us anything, does it?
No.
She already serves this area, I think. I'm fine with her coming in here anytime she needs to if it helps people in the community. Just let her know we get with Angie and we'd be more glad to have her.
She called over here actually one day. She mentioned something about she was needing some people on a board. Did she mention that to you?
She mentioned that to me, and I gave her a list, and Hannah's one of the people.
Okay.
So yeah, she's got a list.
Alrighty, and with that concludes our normal portion of the commissioner meeting. I want,
Commissioner,
yes,
look, can I address the board in reference to the election next Tuesday?
oh, yes, sir, that's pretty pertinent information we need to know, yes, sir. You have the floor.
All right. As of today, Treutlen County has issued 961 ballots. We've actually accepted 483. 150 people came in and voted in person. We have lost some poll workers due to not wanting to work next Tuesday because of COVID-19. I think we've lost about 10, but we should be covered. So we moved our polling precinct from the courthouse to the library because of space. So I'm sure you're going to have people with tents set out in the yard here trying to see people going in and out of the polling precincts. They sent supplies. They sent us supplies of PPE. Angie has ordered us hand sanitizers. We have signs. We have sneeze guards. So when you walk in, you're going to see 3 poll workers with sneeze guards. We're going to try to maintain the social distance in the 6 foot as best we can. Hopefully it won't be raining. That will be a problem if it's raining. What else? Doing the LNA testing. It's going to cost us more, of course. I know you guys are familiar with that. What else? We'll start at 6 in the morning. There's no telling when we'll end because this system we still haven't used this new system. It's unproven. So our hours could be longer, a lot longer. We're going to actually I just gave that to Allison, intent to tabulate early. We've never done that before. So on Monday, I got to get with each candidate and see if they want to come and actually watch us start the election process of tabulating early, because if we wait until Tuesday, depending on how the system goes, it could be Wednesday before we finish up or so. So I just want to give you guys updates on the numbers. Wish us the best next Tuesday. So.
TJ, during a normal election cycle, how many absentee votes does Treutlen County typically receive?
In a primary?
Yes, sir.
1,500.
How many are you expecting this time?
We're at 961 now. That's out. But we didn't mail them out. The state mailed them out. And the problem that we've ran into is a lot of people coming into the precinct, although the state has mailed them a ballot, they still want to come in and vote. So state law says you should actually supposed to bring the ballot to the poll.
What happens if they don't bring the ballot?
You're supposed to say, hey, you got to wait until the ballot. But it's a way around it. So I contacted the state. My liaison said if a person comes in on election day or comes in during advance voting, they do not have their ballot, send them to the registrar's office. Ms. Carey can go into ENET, which is the election system, cancel their ballot that's been mailed to them, and then let them vote in person. Now that could be a potential problem, but that's what we're facing.
So the state mailed out whose absentee ballots?
All of ours, the entire state of Georgia.
Everyone got an application for an
Yeah, the application. Okay.
The application, and then the application was sent to the registrar's office by in-person, mail, fax, and then the registrar's office then in turn put it into the system, and then the state mail you a ballot.
The ballot.
Right.
Okay.
Judge, may I ask a question? What date do people have to get that absentee ballot completed and returned back?
I would say by this Friday,
Okay.
because we still can accept ballots up until 7 o'clock on election day. So if you don't have that application, I can give you an application on Monday. You can bring it back into the office on Monday. And what I did is I went ahead and ordered ballots just in case. So I can actually issue ballots from my office. So if you brought in an application, filled it out, send it back to me, I can get you a ballot instead of having to go through the state.
Okay. And then early voting is through?
It ends this Friday.
It ends this Friday. Okay. And so Darryl and I, we have the absentee ballots, so we need to bring those with us if we decide we want to go ahead and just vote there.
Right.
Just bring the ballots with us.
Right. And what Commissioner Hollis and I, she called me on Saturday. I'm tired of talking to her, but people are getting confused about if I vote, the way you vote in a primary is the way you have to vote in a runoff. So say you voted Republican or Democrat in a primary. If that race or any races on that ticket went to a runoff, you cannot vote across party lines. You gotta vote that party line. And that's only during a runoff. So people have been asking the question, if I want to vote for the sheriff, will that affect me in November? No, because in November, during a general, everybody's on one ticket. You don't vote cross party lines. So it will not affect you. So I think that was a question many people have been asking. So just to give some clarification on that.
I have a question too, like way back when the absentee ballot, when it was the Democratic primary thing, supposed to be held in March, I think, people voted absentee. So is there any way for them to vote for the sheriff now?
Yes. So
on the Democratic side, okay.
So in March, whenever you had the presidential preference primary, if you came in and voted on that Democratic ticket, and that race, if you recall, had 12 Democrats on that presidential preference primary, it was canceled, but say it hadn't have been canceled, and it went, of course it was going into a runoff because no one would carry 50%. If you voted Democrat in that presidential preference primary, that runoff you would have to have voted Democrat. So it will not affect you now because this is a different primary.
Okay, so that thing back then, is that just trashed? Because
No.
we do.
So what happens now, the Secretary of State's office combined the ballot. So everyone that went in and voted on the Democratic ticket in March cannot vote for the sheriff in this race because they combined the ballot.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't know that.
Right.
Right.
That's where
Right.
the disconnect is.
So I just wanted to give you an update, and we'll see how Tuesday goes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Chairman,
I was
I'm sorry. I was just gonna ask if I could ask a couple of quick questions based on things that y'all discussed today, but.
Well, we got, not looking to get no big discussion right
You know,
now.
it's quick questions.
Yes, ma'am, go right ahead.
You mentioned about, you knew one of the roads, but not the 2 roads for the speed bumps. What's the one that you know?
Pound Circle. Another one's the one going out, what community calls Beasley Hill. I'm not sure the name of the road. I've had a request out there.
And then I heard y'all talk about a Taylor. Who's Taylor?
She's
I
with
heard
the,
that name a couple of times.
she's with the DTS, our auditors.
Okay. And then, are y'all possibly looking at, I'm excited about being able to be here this morning with the meeting being changed to morning.
Mhm.
And as a teacher, so this summer I get to come, but are y'all possibly looking at changing the meeting back to 6 so more constituents that might be interested in coming can attend the meetings?
Not at this time right now because we still have a member who's working out of town and they're not here today, but they say going forward, the next meetings they should be able to make around their work schedule.
Even if it was changed to back in the evenings? The day is fine, but, this.
I understand. But not at this time.
I've seen some,
If we
comments
get
about
a
that,
if
so-
it gets put on the motion, if it gets put on the agenda, there's a motion made to do it, we'll entertain it,
Okay.
but right
okay,
now, until
okay. I
then,
just know
we're
a
not
lot of
looking.
people are wanting that. And then the last question is as far as like tickets being purchased by the county credit card, is it okay for the spouse of a commissioner's ticket to be paid for through the county credit card?
I
Is that
don't-
okay?
Yeah,
It is okay for
Yeah.
the spouse of a commissioner's
Yeah.
airline ticket to be paid for by the county?
yeah.
How is that okay?
Well, if they're taking the time out of their life, and this is where you're gonna get different opinions on this, but this is just my take on why I say it's okay. Especially when the county gets paid back. But here's the reason, some of the reasons for that. If you got a commissioner that's taking time out of his life to represent this county, to go do county business, and where their spouse needs to go also,
Mm-hmm.
you do know that when the county makes purchases, a lot of times you don't have to pay the taxes. And taxes can add up a great deal on airlines.
Okay.
So if the county can buy it and let the people travel while they're doing county business and not have to pay that extra tax, I think the people's good enough to go do the business of the county. Why should they not be able to take advantage of that expenditure?
I guess my question, instead of saying, is it okay, or do y'all feel like it's okay, is it legal?
Yeah,
I guess that's.
if this board votes and approves to do it, if it's,
I know when I served as a commissioner for those 6 years, I was always told that anything I did for Darrell, I had to pay for.
I think that's up to the preference of the board. Tom, am I wrong?
I don't know enough about the circumstances that
And
you
I'm
guys
not
are
asking
talking
for
to
particular
about.
circumstances
Right.
and particular commissioners or anything like that. I'm just asking in general, is it okay for the county to pay for the spouse's airline tickets when they're going on a trip? Not asking for any particular person or anything like that. I'm just, because I might want to become a commissioner again. If I'm going to get that kind of.
I didn't know commissioners flew. I don't know, again, I don't know enough about the situation.
I don't think none have.
Now, I would say, not to get into a deep discussion,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
agree,
listen.
I don't agree with it.
Okay.
We will have to look at our handbook, and if there's something that we need to decide on, we need to put it in the
Okay.
handbook, but I don't agree with that.
Okay. How about you, Mr. Joey? Can I ask you that? Do you agree that y'all spouses should be?
I don't know enough about the situation
I'm not asking about a particular situation, just wondering if you feel like a commissioner should be, if your wife should get to you should get to purchase your wife's tickets on the county credit card.
Is the county being reimbursed?
I'm not sure.
If the county's being reimbursed, I'd have to see, but just in general, I wouldn't think so.
Okay. Taylor, Ms. Gillis?
Oh, absolutely not.
We're ready?
Thank y'all. That's it. That's all my questions.
All right.
Wait, before we go, I'm gonna go
Before the
back.
record, I want everybody,
Thank you for allowing me to
before,
ask.
before the record, for everything said, the county has not paid for no one, nor has anyone flew on any airplane.
Huh?
The county has not paid for no airplanes.
Yes, they have. Right, Angie? Okay.
Y'all, Washington.
They got reversed, the car got.
Yeah, I mean, it come back. I mean.
The
but-
money come back, so
Yeah.
the county has not spent no money to buy no airplane ticket.
Okay. All
The
right.
money was brought back. The only reason the money was ordered like that to start with was to save on taxes.
Okay.
And that's like saying, hey, you know, we go down here to Savannah, we do stuff for the ACCG all the time. That's like saying, hey, you can go down there, but your wife ain't gonna be able to go.
No, but that's what I'm saying is for the 6 years that I went to the ACCG conference, I had to pay for Daryl if I was going to allow him to go and participate in the meetings and things like that. The county didn't pay for Daryl to go.
Well, there's nothing wrote down in law about that. It's up to the discretion of the board how they want to handle that. And that's what
That's
that's
it. And like I said, Lance, I'm not trying to start any trouble.
All
I'm
right.
just glad to be here this morning.
We
I'm a
appreciate you
teacher,
coming.
And it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and I have the opportunity to be here.
We appreciate
So thank
we
you.
appreciate you coming. And with that,
Wait, going back to COVID with Josh, the food pantry is next week on the 8th. I haven't talked to you about this, but I'm gonna call the volunteers, and also due to COVID, the National Guard is gonna come too and assist. So I just wanted to throw that out since we was talking about COVID.
I know I got 4 or 5 volunteers. If you don't need them, just let me know if you do need them.
I do, and Miss
Okay.
Taylor has some too, so
Okay, that
that's
sounds
fine.
good. And
Okay.
I have some stuff I can provide for protection.
Okay,
So,
Where is it located?
it's gonna be at the old school, at the old school, old high school.
alrighty, that ends our normal portion part of the meeting. We would make a motion to go into executive session and hear from the probate counsel.
I made the motion.
Do I have a second?
That's it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Appreciate everyone for attending. Miss Allison, I don't know if any action took place afterwards there.